Shane Waldron deserves an ice bath, all right, with minnows and sharks in it. That's what he deserves. I'm tired of this dude.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all different age, races, colors, ethnicities, welcome back to the Chiesty Boys podcast. My name is Jacob McKendry. To my right, I have Mr. Jacob Lewandowski. Mr. Lew, how are we doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Just got another Sunday in the books, a crazy one. And then we got David here. David, what's going on, man?
Hey, what up, boys? You already know. Another week of football, another week of madness, another week of getting coin. Loving it. How was your guys' weekend overall?
Pretty good. Can't complain. A little hectic. Had a nice little workouting, a little Oktoberfest that we threw from my brewery. So working that, slinging some beers, selling some merch, having a good time. But other than that,
Pollyanna Brewing Company, Lamont,
yes,
Illinois.
Shout out Pollyanna.
Some of the best beer in the world.
I would agree. But then,
Also, you guys, quick question before we dive into the sports. So shout out to my friend Sienna, Seattle Seahawks fan visiting from Washington this weekend. First time ever coming to Chicago. For each of you, Jacob, we could start with you first. If you were having a friend visit Chicago for the first time, what's one food item? You can be specific about a place. What's one food item you would have to have them try?
I can already tell you what Jake's going to say, but let's hear it.
I bet you think I'm going to say deep dish pizza. And
no, you're not. I know what you're going to say. I'll let you know.
You know what? I think you know. Okay. It's got to be the Rick and Benny's breaded steak sandwich, brother. It's got to be the Rick and Benny's. Okay,
bro.
I mean,
because
you even talk to people out here in the suburbs and people don't know what that is. Like I mentioned, because we're going to have a Rick and Benny's food truck at Pollyanna in like 2 weeks, actually. Mm-hmm. So I was mentioning people in my work, they're like, what's Rick and Benny's? What's this? I'm like, dude, you don't know until you know, and the breaded steak sandwich is one of a kind. I think it got voted best sandwich in the United States, like in the early 2000s or whatever, but it's still just like a staple stone in Chicago. So, I mean, it's the breaded steak sandwich. I mean, what about you, Jacob?
It's delicious. It's a classic. I can get down with that. But honestly, if I'm taking someone out of town to a place in Chicago, I'm going to show them what real Chicago pizza is about. I'm talking thin crust, bar-style pizza. And we're probably hitting either Uno's or we're hitting Art of Pizza because we're not hitting some branch chain pizza joint. We're in Chicago staples.
It's crazy. People come out here and they're like, oh, like I bet you love deep dish. Like you're obsessed. No, because really most Chicagoans actually love that thin crust style. I'm personally more of a thin crust guy. Like deep dish is cool just for the history behind it and how we're actually known for that. But I think every actual Chicagoan knows that their go-to is the thin crust. David, how about you? Where's one place you would take them or what one food item that you would introduce them to while they were here?
One food item. So I'm going to do a 2-in-1 because they're located on the same street directly across from each other. If the season is allowing you to, you got to go to Taylor Street. You got to go to Al's Italian Beef. I've had Italian beefs all over the city of Chicago. In my opinion, Al's the classic, best bang for your buck, the classic first ever Italian beef. And then right across the street, got to get you an Italian ice from Taylor Street. Mario's Italian ice, best Italian ice in the city. So shout out to both of those.
Definitely locations. All solid selections for sure. But I'll tell you one place where I wouldn't bring my guests. It'd be where the White Sox play baseball because that is
agreed.
That is just I don't know what you want to call it. 120 losses now. They are now tied for the record. About to shatter that probably the next game they play. I mean, I think we have one legitimate White Sox fan here with us. So, David, I just want you to say your piece with your team. Anything you need to say about what's been going on with them? Do you have confidence in them going into next year? Before we dive into our football talk, I just need to hear a grieving White Sox fan speak. So, the floor is yours.
Let me put it this way. Sell the team, bozo. All right, they've already come out and said they're not going to be active in free agency this offseason. They said we got plenty of guys on the roster who just need to play quote-unquote better ball. I don't buy any of that. I'm tired of watching this. I'm tired of watching this team. I don't care if we got Luis Robert. I don't care if we got Andrew Vaughn. This team is dog water. The South Side is upset. And whatever you guys want to say, the South Side has a rich history in baseball. We're not going anywhere. We're not going to Nashville. We're not going to any of these places. So shut your mouths. The Sox will be back, and I'll be laughing in your face when we do.
You heard it first there. I mean,
for whatever.
Sounds like a man's down.
It's pretty tough, but similar to the White Sox. I mean, our Bears just repeatedly like to just hurt our feelings every week as well. We're going to touch more in depth about it later, but That's tough, man. Having to deal with this on a consistent basis, just getting your energy up. I think the biggest thing of being a Bears fan is just getting so happy for 6 days and being unhappy for the one, and then it's just a repeating cycle of just pain. I know, I mean, I had a chance to watch it with you, Lou, and we were just frustrated the whole game through. It's crazy. But I think we'll dive more into that later. But for now, let's give the people what they want to hear, some summaries on the NFL games. First game that we're going to touch base on is the Patriots and Jets game. That actually took place last Thursday. Jets winning that game with a score of 24-3 on the back of Aaron Rodgers, 27-35, 281 through the air, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Pretty good game for him. Braylon Allen and Breece Hall kind of both getting a split share in carries, 11 for Allen, 16 for Hall. Hall actually did have a rushing touchdown there as well. Game wasn't anything crazy. Kind of expected this to happen. The Patriots are looking like a bottom 5 feeder in the league right now. Aaron Rodgers kind of got his mojo back by getting this W, which is a much needed W that they needed at home. These teams, I feel like they're both kind of, like I said, the Patriots are going to be towards the back half. I think the Jets kind of find themselves right in the middle of everybody right now. Not really sure how sold I am on them after just this game alone, but I guess we'll see as it continues on. Lou, what did you think about this game? Do you have any takeaways from this?
Yeah, really not much here. I like to see Aaron Rodgers back. It looks like back to his old self, getting outside the pocket, making those passes. Saw Garrett Wilson be a factor with a touchdown. Tyler Conklin with 93 yards. Looks like his old self. The Patriots still trying to find a way to win. It might be time to give up on Jacoby and switch to Drake May, but we won't know till the next couple games. What about you, David? Anything to take away?
Braylon Allen definitely emerging as a nice young talent. I think he's a great acquisition from the University of Wisconsin. Jump around, you already know. I like him and Breece Hall. Breece Hall needed that kind of second back to help take away some of those carries. Obviously, with Breece Hall's injury record, you don't want to make him, that sole back. So having Braylon Allen there is a really nice touch for him. I'm going to touch on this a little bit later in fantasy. Mike Williams owners, I think you guys are looking promising. Mike Williams, since week 1, you've slowly seen him starting to get more targets, slowly start to see his count get a little bit higher. So I think the success of this team, during the stretch is really going to be if Mike Williams can kind of stay healthy and if he can really add to that wide receiver room. So keep an eye open on Mike Williams. Fantastic. So moving on from the Jets and the Patriots, let's go ahead and dive into the Browns and Giants game. I think a lot of people were kind of surprised by this one. Giants walking away with a W here. Jacob, how do you feel about what went on in the Browns and Giants?
Let's see. Danny Jones, 24-34, 236, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Relatively really nice day for him, but I think we know who the main discussion of this game should be about, and I think that's the boy from LSU, Mr. Malik Neighbors. 8 receptions, 78 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had 2 rushes. He tried to throw a pass, I think, at one point. So it's clear that this guy is the bona fide superstar of their offense now that Saquon isn't there anymore. I'm curious to see if this Giants team is going to continue to put that workload on him, as he is a rookie, but he's shown that he can perform. In terms of Cleveland, Deshaun Watson, it looks like they're going to be calling for your head soon, even though he really didn't play that bad of a game. And no interceptions, 21-37, 196. The running game looks really, really iffy with Jerome Ford, Deonta Foreman, kind of splitting touches there. 12 carries between them two combined, that's definitely not enough. Amari Cooper, always a really good, consistent, reliable receiver. But just the way that this Browns team lost to the Giants when they received, I'm pretty sure they were 3.5-point favorites at one point because they were a home dog, or they were a home favorite. So it looks like they're kind of heading downhill really quick. I don't know how long this Deshaun Watson experiment's going to last. But in terms of the Giants, you have a bona fide superstar receiver, Malik Neighbors, so you definitely need to keep utilizing him. I think Danny Jones can play to his strengths, kind of not stay in the pocket rollout when he needs to, use his legs because he can run if he needs, and then just complete the passes to Malik, and I think they should be looking okay. But until you show me anything past a good Cleveland Browns team and they beat a somewhat decent team, I'm not really going to buy too much into the hype. So, Jacob, I know you got Malik on your fantasy team. I know you were a happy dog watching this game. What do you have to say about it?
Yes, sir. LSU wide receiver the talent they're bringing into the NFL is crazy. First start with Jefferson, then into Chase, and now this young prospect who looks like everything for the Giants. And I will give him his props. He did everything he could, and they came out with a win. But I really want to give props to Danny Jones standing there, 24-34, 236, and 2 touchdowns. You know, not the best stat record for a quarterback, but of his caliber, you know, you will fully take that as a Giants fan, and looked really good. And now on to the next game. We got Packers versus Titans. I want to say it's tough, especially because you just gave up this young man that beat you, especially scoring the first touchdown. But Will Levis, what are we doing out there, man? You tossed the same pass you tossed to Tariq Stevenson. Instead, now it's Jair Alexander taking it to the house. Fumbles, not being able to get the ball to his playmakers is probably what caused this game to get out of hand for him. And the Packers still proving they can do it without Jordan Love is really impressive. David, what did you think on this one?
Man, Malik Willis, revenge game. He was a beast, man. Beast through the air. 202 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. He was getting it done with his legs. 6 carries for 73 yards. Overall, man, played a really clean game. The team kind of gathered around him. Really good performance. I think they won this game solely off the fact that Tennessee's offense is really incompetent. They haven't established their run game identity. Only 8 rushes between their 2 running backs. And, you're putting the ball in Will Levis's hand, and clearly mistakes are made when you do that. Like you said, had that incident against the Bears, and he did something very similar in this game. DeAndre Hopkins, he had a nice game coming off the injury. 6 receptions, 73 yards, and a touchdown. Tyjae Spears also doing his thing in the receiving game. So it's going to be interesting to see if Tennessee can kind of bounce back from this. But right now it's looking like Tennessee is going to have a pretty high draft pick if they keep going in this direction. So very interesting to see. Jacob, do you have anything to add to that?
I'll keep it short and concise. Tennessee, does look horrible. I think they're going to be bottom 5 this year, possibly the worst team in the league. We're lucky to have gotten that win against an 0-3 team, but we'll talk more about that later when we get into the Bears talk. Will Levis looked like he was seeing ghosts out there. Some of the throws that he made were extremely questionable. Didn't have really good pocket presence. I think he had a strip fumble on him once or twice, maybe. I can't really remember. In terms of the Packers, Matt LaFleur's a legit coach, man. He knows what he's doing, and it's run the ball. He's running to Malik's strengths. Malik had 6 carries, 73 yards, 1 touchdown. I know their running backs played pretty well. Their defense is arguably a top 10 defense as well. And it's really scary if you're a Bears fan, because if he's doing this right now with a backup quarterback, what is LaFleur going to drum up when Jordan Love comes back and he's fully healthy? I'll kind of keep it at a minimum, because the next game actually is really similar to that. Vikings and Texans. Vikings ended up shocking the Texans 34-7, which, quite frankly, I didn't see coming. I don't know if you guys saw it coming. I knew it was going to be a close game. I didn't think it was going to be a complete Vikings blowout. And just similar to LaFleur, Kevin O'Connell looks like he could be the coach of the year right now. I know he wasn't in the running when this season first began, and the Vikings were projected to be bottom feeders at our division, but the way that Sam Darnold is playing right now, minimalizing mistakes, 17 completions out of 28 attempts, 4 touchdowns, 6.5 yard average per throw, but when you have weapons like Aaron Jones, Jalen Naylor played a pretty good game, Justin Jefferson, and Aaron Jones out of the backfield catching passes, catching 5 of them for 46, they're looking pretty elite, though. In terms of Houston, I'm surprised they actually blew this one. C.J. Stroud could look kind of rocky all the way through. He had 2 interceptions, 215 yards through the air. Their rushing game never really got going. Cam Akers doesn't look like he's a really good, solid RB1 without Joe Mixon there. So curious to see what they're going to do these next upcoming weeks if Mixon is not healthy again, which I think he should be. Diggs and Nico Collins kind of both hitting him through the air along with Tank Dell. Tank had 5 receptions. Nico had 4. Stephon had 10. I feel like that's just going to cycle every week as they go from defense to defense. I feel like any of those receivers can really eat. I think the Texans kind of came out and got punched in the mouth, and they really didn't expect this Minnesota team to be about it, and it seems like they are. So it's really going to be interesting to see how this NFC North division kind of pans out as the year progresses. And, yeah, Lou, how about you?
Yeah, really surprising win for Minnesota Vikings. Sam Darnold goes out there again and looks like an absolute stud, although the injury does make you a little bit nervous. Using their weapons well. Justin Jefferson having a big game. Aaron Jones having a big game on the ground. You know, it's a surprising one, but I do believe the Texans bounce back next week and get a win. So, David, what do you think?
Man, so before I go talk about the Texans here, first off, I want to say I was in Houston, Texas last week for the Bears game. The city of Houston, thank you so much, man. Such an awesome experience. Got some footage coming at you this week. Everything out there in Houston, man. The food, the barbecue, the people were really nice. So overall, just had an awesome time. I think for the Houston Texans, the big thing here that I took away from this game is how critical Joe Mixon is to the success of this team. I mean, we even saw it when the Bears played him. It was a very close game. And for a majority of the game, we were able to hold Joe Mixon, you know, and CJ Stroud at times struggled to get the ball down the field, only really to Nico Collins in that game. In this game, you kind of saw that switch to Stephon Diggs being the one who is kind of getting open there. So I feel like in order for this Texans team to succeed, they need Joe Mixon back and healthy, and they need that run game established in order to be successful in the air. Just the Bears' luck, though, man. The Vikings, I mean, it's an awesome story, the fact on how they've kind of had this revival even after J.J. McCarthy got hurt, you know, and people were worried. But shout out to them, man. They got a lot of weapons on that team. Aaron Jones, obviously a playmaker, but I think his health is going to be key to their success. So I'm interested to see what happens with them. So moving on from the Vikings and the Texans, let's go ahead and talk about the Eagles and the Saints. For me, this was a surprising one here. Very low scoring. I think looking at this game, especially the way the Saints have been playing the past couple weeks, you would think that this was going to be a shootout, very high scoring game. Quite the opposite, 15-12 Philadelphia. We did see that horrible hit on Devontae Smith, who is ruled out with a concussion. Tempers were definitely flaring up. I mean, potential rivalry situation here. Jalen Carter ready to throw some hands with Tyrann Mathieu. It was insane out there. But overall, man, the star of the game for me in this one, again, Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley getting 147 yards on the ground, 2 rushing touchdowns. And then Dallas Goedert, oh my God, 10 receptions, 170 yards. That is insane. Dallas Goedert was one of those tight ends going into the season. I think people were sleeping on him. The fact that they have so many weapons on this team, but he came out here and showed like, hey man, I am a weapon and I am here to stay on this offense. So overall, man, I think it was a good team win for the Eagles, you know, kind of showing like, hey, we're here for each other. But Jalen Hurts, I mean, he definitely needs to step up in a few areas. In the red zone, he couldn't really get it going through the air. Luckily, Saquon was able to kind of come in clutch with, you know, that nice running game. Overall, Eagles come away with the victory, very close one. And, you know, prayers to Devontae Smith. Hope he heals up, gets back on the field.
Yeah.
Lou, how about you?
Well, you know, this game was very defensive-oriented, but both coming in with 2 quality defenses. I just want to emphasize what a good running back will do to a great quarterback. Last year we saw Jalen Hurts running the ball almost 2 to 3 times a drive. This year you hardly see Jalen Hurts take off because that running game is so explosive from Saquon Barkley. And this is a dream spot he landed in, honestly. He's upgraded the offensive line tenfold from when he was in New York. He looks fantastic. He looks like he was his rookie year and all throughout college. I'm excited to what they can do in the playoffs because I know kind of the Eagles' story is getting there but not getting there. But overall, good win by the Eagles defense, and the Saints look a little confused when playing a top 10 defense themselves. So, Jacob, what do you think?
I mean, kind of just echoing off of what you guys said, I'm really interested to see this Eagles team at full strength. The only time we really saw them full strength was week 1. And when you get back AJ, when you get back Devonta Smith, and Saquon keeps doing what he's doing, and now the addition, I mean, Goddard dropping 170 yards. I think they're going to be pretty nasty this year. And like we talk about this every year, they're a team that can get there but can't finish it off. I think this might be the year. Saquon looks like Saquon. And when he's healthy, he is a viable receiver. He is a viable runner. He is everything that you need in a running back, want in a running back, and expect out of your running back and more. And just to see him pop off consecutively 2 weeks in a row, 2 touchdowns in each game, there's no way of him slowing down unless he gets hurt. And like, we never want to wish injury on anyone here, but behind the offensive line that he has, he looks like he's going to be an absolute menace this whole season. And frankly, that's just going to ease on Jalen Hurts. So Jalen Hurts doesn't have to perform at an absolute high level. He can perform to average, above average level with having Saquon on the ground and having all of these other guys through the air when they're healthy. He's going to end up cooking at some point, and we're going to get to see everyone get a nice piece of the pie on this offense from what it's looking like. In terms of the Saints, I thought they were going to come out and play a better game than this. Obviously, it was really close. It's only a 3-point game. They actually had it in their hands until Saquon broke that really long, I think it was a 67-yard run later on in the fourth quarter. Derek Carr, a little shaky, 14 to 25, 142 yards. I just hope he can actually pick it back up again because I picked that man up from a fantasy quarterback, and that was a horrible move on my part for this week. So
actually, you know what? I'm gonna throw a flag on this one.
Okay,
First flag.
Let's talk about it.
Jacob, can you tell the viewers who your quarterback was before that?
My quarterback was Brock Purdy before that.
Yikes! What'd Brock do this week?
I think he had 32 points. Is there a reason why you know that?
Yeah, because I'm currently playing Brock Purdy. And I thought you could have stashed Brock on your bench and, maybe had a little dual quarterback system. Didn't know you were fully invested in Derek Carr, but, you're very knowledgeable, so I trust that Derek Carr is going to find his way. But, yeah, just brutal to see Brock Purdy against me in the lineup.
I could sense the passive aggression. I like it. But
I'll bring it when we play. Trust me.
I don't stash quarterbacks. And to be fair, Purdy played below average his first two games. I think he was like 20 or 22 ranked quarterback coming into this week. That I think he was going to pop off with no weapons and just Jawan Jennings. No, absolutely not. I didn't. Was it a bad read?
I wonder who has Jawan Jennings.
Oh, I do.
Wait, what?
I do.
Oh,
he's on my bench.
He's on your bench.
I don't need him. All my other receivers dropped. DK dropped 20. Goddard dropped 27. Thank you, Kieran. Aaron Jones dropped 25, and Jettis dropped 20. I didn't even need that man. He can stay on my bench for now.
Stay on the bench.
Bench piece.
So yeah, but like I said, I apologize, Jacob.
It's
looking back on it, I don't know. Oh my God, Mr. Cook.
No.
James Cook should have just had a nasty touchdown.
We're watching this Bills game in the back.
We obviously have the game on, guys. Come on, if you were in our shoes, you have the game on.
Missed
Every
a
game.
wide open bomb halfway down the field, literally right through his
Absolutely
hands.
wide open.
How do you drop that? All right, let's get back on track, boys. So what we were talking about, the Eagles and the Saints. Lou, I think you got next on the agenda. What do we jump into?
Let's get into briefly on some of these subpar games we had. We had Chargers versus Steelers. I do want to bring up Justin Fields, 25 for 32, 246, 1 touchdown. Looked fucking unreal out there. Looked fantastic running the ball, getting the ball to his playmakers. I know the Chargers are a little banged up at the time, but still a solid defense to compete against. David, what do you think?
Whoa,
another flag.
On the
flag.
This flag is for this guy over here, as well as so many other Bears fans who said Justin's dog water. Oh, man, Justin. Oh, man, everyone said he was the guy, this, and that. Guess what, man? I've been watching Justin Fields these past few weeks. I think he's right where he's meant to be. Justin Fields knew he wanted to go to Pittsburgh. He wanted to go to a place with a good coaching staff, with consistency, consistently winning games, consistently making the playoffs. And he went to a place where he has a mentor, Russell Wilson, to help him, tighten up those mechanics. When you see Justin now, you see all those things that we've been waiting to see, the improvements, the timing, the throwing of the football, the delivering it at high speed to open receivers. He is doing his job out there, man, and doing it with guys like Calvin Austin, George Pickens, having a consistent running back. Yeah, Najee Harris, he might not be getting into the end zone every single game, but he is consistently getting those first downs for Justin and making it easier for him in the passing game. So, Justin, man, that's all I really have to say about this game, man. I'm so happy seeing you out there, playing the game that you love, being on a 3-0 team. And I hope that you can keep it going. So shout out to Justin Fields. I'm always going to be a fan. Over to you, Jacob.
With that being said, I mean, he has one touchdown pass this season? You think he's got 2 on the ground? Do you think he's going to be sustainable for the whole year? Do you think he's gonna minimize the mistakes and not look to run and pass more like he has been?
Hey, man, all I got to say is this Chargers defense is one of the best, definitely in the run game especially. And all I got to say is, man, Tony Romo said it during the game, 3-0 Pittsburgh Steelers. I think you just found your quarterback. So I'm excited to see what Justin has in store for us this year.
So do you think that you think the team is his until he proves or gets hurt?
I think it's his. I think it's his period. I think no matter what, even if he has a bad game or something, like he has shown more consistency. He has shown those improvements that Mike Tomlin wanted to see out of that quarterback room this offseason. I think you have to roll with Justin.
Okay, so here's a side discussion that I was wanting to have with you guys now that we're on the Steelers. If you're Mike McDaniel, do you pick up the phone and call Pittsburgh and see if they possibly want to give you Russ? Would you try it?
Yeah.
You think that's a possibility? Because
depending on the severity of the injury.
That's true. I guess we still need to know more about that, but
we'll know more in 3 weeks, apparently.
Okay, say Tua is going to be out till like week 12. Do you think McDaniel tries, or would you try and make a move if you were McDaniel for Russell Wilson? Because Skylar Thompson is
out.
And he got hurt.
Yeah, who was the other guy that they brought in?
Oh, he's even worse.
No offense to you, but I have no clue.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, none taken, obviously.
It was sad.
But so, I mean, in my opinion, I think he probably would have to check in just to see what they would want. Obviously, we still got to figure out what's going on with Tua, but it could be a possible answer to Miami's wolf woes that have been going on. But I mean, you're right. Congratulations to Justin. Looking really nice on the year. Like you said, 25-32. He's playing to his strengths, using receivers the way that he needs to, and I wish him all the best. No hard feelings. The way that things ended in Chicago, everyone knew that was going to happen, except for a few people. But it did, and now he's in a good place. Mike Tomlin is a solidified coach. So hopefully they keep coaching his strengths, and hopefully they keep winning. It'd be good to see.
Of course.
What's this next game again? Oh, we got Denver and Tampa Bay. This was another shocker for sure. Definitely thought Tampa Bay was gonna run the tables in this game just because they look so nice the past two games. Baker only coming out throwing for 163 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Bo Nix looking all right, 25-36, 216 through the air. Their rushing attack featuring Nix himself had 47 on the ground, and Tyler Batty, 9 carries, 70 yards. Receiving attack, Cortland Sutton got 7. Lil Jordan Humphrey, that's the best name ever. Lil Jordan Humphrey with 6 receptions for the Broncos as they pull out the win against the Bucs. The Bucs looking super questionable on the ground. Rashad Wright not really doing too much. It looked like they were going to Bucky Irving way more, actually, which is kind of concerning for a lot of people that do have White on fantasy teams. Bucky Irving, 9 carries, 70 yards. Through the air, Otten, 7, Godwin, 6, Rashad White, 5, Mike Evans, only 2. So it looks like they're trying to spread the ball around, but that Denver defense actually came out to play. These games, I mean, I feel like the NFL is starting to get really top heavy with the entertainment aspect of the game. Some of these games are so entertaining to watch. Some of these are just middle of the road I can really care less about. But I mean, that's just my opinion. Lou, how did you feel about this one?
Yeah, just a subpar game in general, really. Just honestly, all I saw was Bo Nix just running around and getting first downs. Come on, if you're the Bucs, you got to be able to keep the quarterback in the pocket, got to keep him from getting those first down rushes. But other than that, yeah, this is a pooper shoot. What about you, David?
Yeah, Rashad White owners, including myself, I don't know what's going on. It's nerve-wracking. Get Rashad White out there. He wears the number 1. Bucky Irving wears the number 7. 1 is higher than 7. Come on. This is ridiculous right now. Yeah.
Oh, there's
I think one, are you talking about 1 is a lower, a higher, number?
Higher, I feel like if you wear the number 1, that's superior. You're supposed to be the best on the team.
Okay, I'm just going to tell you guys right now, wearing a certain number doesn't make you a better player. So
not true. Jalen Johnson.
I had to throw
number
my
1
flag.
Justin Fields.
That was an illogical conclusion right there. That was the only reason why I threw that flag. But yeah, no, I agree. I think Rashad White should be maintaining a load of those carries, especially what he did last year through the and then through the passing game too. Surprised to see Bucky getting some tick, but I feel like a lot of running backs have had split committees this year. I mean, Pollard looked good through the first few games for Tennessee, but now you're seeing Tajay Spears starting to get some as well. Yeah, be concerned if you're a Rashad White owner and pay attention to Bucky Irving on waiver if he is there. David, take us to the next poop shoot of a game that we had this weekend.
This was an absolute, how could I say this? A subhuman sack of potatoes is what I would call this game. The Carolina Panthers defeating the Las Vegas Raiders 36-22. Andy Dalton getting his first start, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, 319 yards.
He low-key cooked. I'm just saying this right now. He actually cooked.
He cooked, but like, come on, you guys, it was against the Las Vegas Raiders. Like, let's be honest here, not the best team. And listen, I could talk about this game all that I want. I mean, shout out to Chuba Hubbard. What a great name, Chuba Hubbard. But I think the real storyline of this game is Antonio Pierce after the game. He seemed very upset after the game, saying that he believes that some players made a business decision during that game. He quote unquote said, "I feel some players made business decisions during that game, and we will be making business decisions moving forward." Yikes. And it appears that a majority of that was aimed at Gardner Minshew. Coming out and saying today that, hey, don't be surprised if there's a change at quarterback this week. So I don't know if maybe he's seen a lack of effort, like maybe Gardner Minshew just kind of threw in the towel, obviously didn't have the best game, 18 for 28, 214, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, with a 41.7 QBR. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with this Raiders team. Obviously not the start they wanted at 1-2. But that defense is definitely struggling. When your leading receiver is Trey Tucker at 7 receptions, 96 yards, clearly, you're not getting the ball in the real playmakers.
Who the fuck is that guy?
So, it will be interesting to see. Lou, how do you feel about this one?
Yeah, just another poop shoot game. Shout out the Red Rifle.
Yeah.
He just looked like a beast out there. He honestly should make Bryce Young very nervous, because it's been 2 years, Bryce Young, and not being able to do nothing, and Andy Dalton comes out here in the first game and puts up 300 yards. Kind of shows you where the problem is. I didn't like him as a prospect coming out of college. I thought we saved the day by being able to trade away the first pick, because regardless of how Caleb's playing now, I still think he's 10 times the prospect that Young is.
100%.
But other than that, another really bad game. The Raiders look terrible. The Panthers, I mean, you've looked terrible. You look good, but you're still terrible. It's just terrible all around.
I feel like Andy Dalton is like that the little gif of like the Grim Reaper, like going to each door and knocking, except for like rookie quarterbacks, like for Fields, and then now is like fucking Bryce Young. I feel
he pretends to be your coach.
Yeah, like every 2 to 3 years, dude. He'll just like pop up like on the roster, and then somehow he'll just end up fucking starting some way.
Howdy.
He's like, yeah, I'm coaching you. Yeah, I'm coaching you up. Hey, coach, can I start?
Give me your fucking spot right now.
So let me ask you guys real quick. Do you think Bryce Young, yes or no, will he be traded by the end of this season?
I don't think anyone wants him.
Yeah, I don't.
To be honest,
you're not giving up a 5th round pick for Bryce Young?
5th?
I mean, if I'm like one of those teams like Miami, or a team that's maybe going to make a run this year, Vegas needs more. Like, they already have a replaceable guy.
From what I saw from reports, they said that a few teams tried to send them offers already, but they were just complete and utter low balls. I don't know what you can really consider a low ball for a rookie quarterback that hasn't panned out, but he's still early in his career, and I guess he maybe has a chance to turn it around if he finds the right organization, such as Fields, like you were saying. I think he gets traded by the end of this year. No. Do I think he'll get traded in the offseason? Yes, if Dalton continues to do this. But I guess we got to see what it looks like against a good defense.
Because, I mean, look at how Baker Mayfield's career panned out, where went to a team where it wasn't right for him. People said he was washed, and now he just got paid, So, in my opinion, I don't think we've seen the last of Bryce Young in the NFL. I hope he does get another opportunity somewhere.
Speaking of longevity and reinventing your career. Geno Smith and your boys, Seattle Seahawks, taking it to the Miami Dolphins, the battered Miami Dolphins, 24-3 off the back of Geno, 26-34, 289 through the year, 2 interceptions, 1 touchdown. Charbonnet, really good game on the ground, 18 carries, 91 yards, 2 touchdowns, average 5 yards a carry, which is big for that team. DK doing it big through the air with Noah Fant, Tyler Lockett, and JSN, who looks like he might be having a breakout season this year. Look, Miami, you're in trouble. Right now, Skylar Thompson and Tim Boyle. Tim Boyle is his name. You look like you're driving a Lamborghini, but you don't know how to drive stick shift because all of these weapons you have make it look absolutely beautiful. But if the person driving the car doesn't know how to drive the car, then you're going to get nowhere. And it looks like that's just what this team's going to be the rest of this year. I think they're going to be the biggest letdown in the NFL. Obviously, because Tua was hurt. If Tua was back in, I think they have a good chance to probably just win this game outright. But unless they make a trade or make a move for a quarterback, looks like they're gonna fall to a lot of teams as well, because I know their schedule is pretty difficult. Seattle looks like they're playing well. Geno trying to minimize mistakes, even though he did have 2 interceptions this game. I think Charbonnet is another good guy that's going to come out this year that people are going to be looking for in fantasy next year as well. DK. Really, bulk of his 104 yards came, I think, on a 75-yard reception, or 71 yards. So he's always going to be the big target through the air. I like Jackson Smith and Jigba moving forward. It looks like they're starting to incorporate him in the offense. They look like they're going to be a really solid team. I think they're probably going to be a playoff team this year after starting 3-0 like this. So we'll see what continues to go on with them. Yeah. Lou, how did you feel about this one?
Yeah, these last 3 games, very low action games. I'm not surprised by the Dolphins. Definitely need to figure something out, especially if they think they're going to contend. The Seahawks look pretty good, given the fact that they were on the field most of the time because the Dolphins struggled to get first downs. DK looks great. Always a good matchup between him and Ramsey. Definitely got Ramsey got taken advantage. Charbonnet's looking like Ken Walker.
Mm-hmm.
Boring game, but, Seahawks on top. What about you, David?
Man, dude, as a Seahawks being my second team, I love seeing them perform like this. I think it's like you guys were saying. I think the key player to pay attention to on the Seahawks is Zach Charbonnet. He's a guy that we picked up in the second round last year to kind of pair with Kenneth Walker. I mean, even when Walker was healthy in the first game of the season, they each had a touchdown and they each had double-digit fantasy scores. So I think that that's a duo that's really going to be cooking for some time, as long as, they're both on the field together. So one thing real quick I wanted to ask you guys before we move on to the Ravens-Cowboys. I know we didn't get a chance to talk about it when this happened, but obviously Tua Tagovailoa, serious concussion the other night playing football. This has happened multiple times in his career. And, many people, analysts, players are very concerned for him. Obviously, CTE and all that is very serious, and it's something that affects a lot of football players. With where Tua is at being on IR for the next 4 weeks as he consults some neurologists and stuff, Lou, do you feel Tua should continue to play the game of football?
Honestly, I cannot say I'd like to see Tua continue. I'd honestly like to see him hang it up. He's been a tough guy, took a lot of shots in college, took him a lot of shots here. It's just the severity of those shots, or you can see it, He's seizing up out there. His hands are cramping up out there, and it's not looking good. And I don't know, as a certified neurologist, how you could even let him play again.
Literally.
And it's sad that he's not wearing a Guardian cap. I don't know, for our viewers out there, Guardian caps are a new product that players wear over their helmet to kind of absorb some of the impact. And if anyone should be wearing one of those, it's Tua, because the impact has been severe on him. And I'd be surprised if we saw him again this season.
Dude, the Jags are just horrendous.
Wow, horrible.
Dude, about to be 34-3 at half.
Oh my gosh.
What a absolute. I think Allen has like 4 touchdown passes.
What is going on?
Good Lord. But back to touch on your point. Sorry, guys, I didn't mean to get off track. No, I don't think he should play again, but do I think he is? Yeah. I think just his mentality and the culture that he comes from. I know in Hawaii football, they live and they breathe football. And I mean, listening to a few other Hawaiian players kind of talk about his situation, they said it's part of their culture to want to play. So I feel like he's going to keep playing. Do we think he should? No, because I think one more injury like that could be really, really bad. I mean, I don't want to know the side effects of if that were to happen. But at the same time, man, if someone's got to make money, he's got to support for his family. I guess you can't really dictate what a man wants to do with his life. So I do think he will keep playing. Do I think he's going to be back this year? Hopefully not. He just needs to take some time away and really figure it out and think about it. But I do think he's going to come back, whether it would be at the end of this year or sometime early next year. Now, a rather entertaining game, the 3:00 games, the Baltimore Ravens versus the Dallas Cowboys. Baltimore had a pretty hefty lead on this game all the way through, going into the fourth quarter with about 9 minutes left. And then Dak and the Cowboys actually scored 19 unanswered points just to lose on the last drive when the Ravens were able to actually run out the clock on the back of Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry coming out 25 carries, 151 yards on the ground, 2 rushing touchdowns. Looks like a typical Derrick Henry stat as he caught no passes through the air. Lamar Jackson, 1 touchdown, 182 yards, only 12 completions on 15 attempts. Wow, I did not know he threw for barely any, but he had 14 carries on the ground, 87 yards. So it's clear that they relied heavy on their rushing game. Dallas doing Dallas things, man. I really thought they actually had the money line in this game. I thought that they were going to take care of Baltimore, but it looks like they're just not ready for the bright lights. It's always them and the 49. I mean, I'm talking in terms of playoffs, but it seems like Dallas always puts on a really good game or has a really good performance, and all of a sudden you think they're going to start performing, and it's always 1 step forward and 2 steps back with this Cowboys team. So don't really have any sympathy for them because I think everybody can consensually agree that it's fuck the Cowboys because it's just easy to hate on them because Jerry Jones is a dickhead. But other than that, they had a lot of guys catching the ball. I mean, I see here, I think there's 12 different guys that caught a football. So I guess they're trying to incorporate more weapons. CD's definitely going to need some help as the season goes on because Ferguson's not going to be able to do it consistently. And I know sure as hell Kevontae Turpin isn't going to be averaging 51 receiving yards a game. But we'll see as the season goes on. Baltimore being Baltimore, running the ball. I guess you can't really say anything else for that. Jacob, what did you see on this one?
It was a really good try from Dak to get back into this game. He put everything out there, 379, 2 passing, 1 rushing. It just wasn't enough. Surprisingly, the first onside kick recovered in the modern day of kickoffs. So that's pretty cool, knowing you have to establish that you're going to onside kick and
such
then
a dumb
being
rule.
able to recover it is something new, and it's, interesting. But, yeah, Cowboys defense definitely not looking sure, definitely not looking like themselves from former years. The rush game is destroying them. They've got to be the worst rush defense in the NFL right now. When you go out there and you don't throw a single pass to Mark Andrews, only 1 to Isaiah Likely, you have less than 100 yards passing. Cowboys need to do something there. The rush game looks fantastic. Derrick Henry looks great, really shutting me up from before, although they didn't really need to pass the ball at all. It was a pretty crap game from the Cowboys, but way to fight back and make it interesting. What about you, David? What did you see?
Here's all I got to say, bro. Jerry Jones was asked after this game, do you regret not signing Derrick Henry when you had the opportunity? He said, we couldn't afford Derrick Henry. I got news for you. You could have afforded Derrick Henry if you didn't wait until an hour before the season starts to sign your franchise quarterback. You would have been able to sign Derrick Henry if you didn't wait so long to sign CeeDee Lamb. You can't treat the training camp is the off season. All right. This Dallas Cowboys franchise has shown to be incompetent in free agency. They don't prioritize paying their key players. They don't prioritize scouting. And this is the situation they're in. And I got news for you. When Micah Parsons is a Chicago Bears next season, this is going to be why. So Dallas, I'm sorry, Jerry Jones is pretty much the reason why you're 0-2 at home and why you're in the situation you're in. So that's all I have to say about that one. And moving on to the 49ers-Rams game, shocking comeback from the Rams here in this one. Kyron Williams, star of the game, 24 carries, 89 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Obviously, Jawan Jennings had a phenomenal game. 11 receptions, 175 yards, 3 touchdowns. Clearly Brock Purdy's guy when he's missing a majority of his team other than Brandon Ayuk. Obviously, great comeback win for Stafford. He's a dog, getting it done with Tutu Atwell being his number 1 receiver in the game. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's nice.
But I think the real story behind this man is going to be whatever happens with, the San Francisco 49ers and their weapons. I just saw today that Christian McCaffrey is going to Germany to speak to a specialist about his Achilles tendonitis. So Christian McCaffrey owners, man, I'm worried for y'all. It definitely appears that this injury is pretty serious and could be lingering quite longer than some people thought. I mean, when you're dealing with an Achilles injury, that's not something you want to mess around with, especially with postseason hopes on the line. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this one. 49ers off to a rough start, 1-2, and going to be interesting to see how they can bounce back. Lou, how do you feel about these guys?
Yeah, really surprising game. I love to see the Rams get a couple offensive linemen back, and Matt Stafford looks like himself. Being able to find those younger prospect wide receivers during this game to get those first downs, and ultimately being able to punch those touchdowns in with Kieran Williams really helped them. They were down bad and very resilient. That's all I have to. That's the word that comes to mind, is very resilient. The comeback in this one. I think the 49ers are going to be A-okay. Brock Purdy still had a great game with 292 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. And you just see that the 49ers can step up. Debo, Christian down. You get Jawan Jennings, who was really a no-name kind of guy. Played well in the playoffs last year, but a no-name guy besides that. And he fills right into Debo's shoes. And it's going to be interesting seeing these 3 wide receivers work together in the future.
Brock really showed something this game, for sure.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I thought Brock looked really good. I thought he was very calm under pressure. I don't like this Rams defense, honestly. They're very bad, especially in the secondary. Just not a lot of talent after Aaron left and a couple guys get traded. But, yeah, Brock looks great. The running game still looks great.
Mm-hmm.
I would still have hope, even though the 49ers lost. They're still going to be a major player in the NFC. Moving on to the next game, we have the Lions versus Cardinals. A pretty good game, low-scoring affair. You really get to see that Lions defensive line take effect on Kyler Murray. He was kind of felt like he was rushed all game, even though he did throw for 200 yards and 1 touchdown. And then you just love to see those Lions running backs just absolutely going crazy and, really eating away at that time, the possession in favor of the Lions, possession time in favor of the Lions, I should say. David Montgomery, 23 carries, 105 yards with a touchdown, and then the nice little trick play, the Jahmyr Gibbs, which I loved for my fantasy team.
A little hook and ladder.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful.
That was pretty.
It's crazy because when you
Ben
run
Johnson.
the hook and ladder, the guy who gets the ladder, the receiver of the pitch, he gets all the receiving yards. So, it's crazy.
Does he really?
Yeah, he gets the receiving yards on the reception and the touchdown. So,
More you know.
Okay.
fantastic. Jake, what did you think of this game?
This running game is crazy. I mean, I'll keep this one short because there's not really much to say about this, but the Lions are the Lions. You're gonna see them run the ball 35, 40 times a game. You're gonna see Jared Goff come out of play action, use Amon-Ra to his strengths, use Jahmyr out the backfield, use Montgomery out the backfield. That's really it, man. 2-headed demon with a quarterback that can actually stay in the pocket, throw the ball, minimalize turnovers, even though he did have an interception. Really consistent with all of his throws as well. Can make short throws, medium throws, downfield throws. They look dangerous. This whole division looks dangerous. I said it before and I'll say it again. I am concerned as a Bears fan to have to go through these 3 teams in the last 10 games of our season. So we'll see what happens with that. Cardinals, K1, all right. They just can't handle that Detroit defensive line. Detroit defensive line is nasty. It's nice to see the Cardinals starting to get Marvin Harrison consistently involved now. I think he's going to be a bona fide superstar moving forward here because they actually realize that they need to get him the ball in order for him to make moves. Other than that, not much to say. David, anything from you before we move on?
Yeah, man. Shout out to David Montgomery, former Bear. You're a savage.
Cool. All right. Last game on the Sunday slate, and then we're going to get to some Bears talk, and then we're probably going to wrap this up. Kansas City Chiefs, Atlanta Falcons, KC pulling away 22-17. Looks like Atlanta made a little bit of a comeback towards the end of the game, but actually couldn't seal it when they're on the 10-yard line. Pat Mahomes, 26-39 through the air, 217 on 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Kirk, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 230 through the air. Bijan, not looking too great on the ground, 31 rush yards on 16 carries. Carson Steele and Samaje Perine kind of doing the workload for the Chiefs while Pacheco is out. Rashee Rice is the absolute story of this game. 12 receptions, 110 yards. What we were saying, the steal of fantasy football literally everywhere, just because of where he was falling in the draft. Kelsey looks like he's starting to decline. Like I said, and I'll say it again, really didn't use him too much in the first half. I think he had one reception in the first half, 3 in the second half. It looks like Rashee Rice is going to be that absolute dude going forward. Everyone got really happy about Worthy's first game, which, I mean, I was one of those people. It doesn't look like he's getting as many looks, a lot of more end arounds, run plays, trying to get the ball in his hands, but he's really going to be an explosive guy. Maybe when they get in the playoffs, I think he's really going to become a big factor. In terms of Atlanta's receivers, Drake London and Mooney looking like a stud, 8 receptions, 66. Kyle Pitts, still looking like Kyle Pitts, man. 2 receptions, 59 yards, not really getting too much look from Cousins.
Should have had a touchdown in the end zone.
Should have had a touchdown in the end zone, but of course Kansas City gets those calls because of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yep.
So not really surprised that they get that call in a primetime game. Other than that, Atlanta, you had a chance to beat them and you couldn't do it. So you guys got anything to say about that one?
Yeah, great game from Rashee Rice, man. The guy is great at getting the open in space, and Andy Reid really draws up the plays towards his way. You could see kind of a shift in kind of where Pat Mahomes has his trust. You know, it was always Travis Kelce in those zone coverage beaters, and now you see Rashee Rice doing the same thing Travis Kelce was doing, just sitting down in the zone, finding open space, and yeah, you look great. Other than that, Kurt looked good. Just wasn't enough tonight.
Man, I like you guys said, man, Rashee Rice, absolute dog. Atlanta's receiving core, I love seeing Darnell Mooney kind of come out, you know, and establishing himself kind of as the number 2 receiver. Overall, man, I think the Falcons still need to figure out exactly what they're doing with the run game. I mean, Bijan has seemed this season and last season to kind of be hot and cold, you know, and they're doing the whole split bag situation with Algier. I think they really need to establish what the game plan is with Bijan Robinson moving forward, especially for fantasy owners out there. So be on the lookout to see what happens with that. Overall, I thought it was a great Sunday night game, pretty entertaining on both sides of the ball, so I enjoyed it.
Okay, now that we wrapped up with the games, we're going to get our Bears talk out the way here because a lot I want to say, but I think I'm just going to summarize it more than have to go in depth on everything. God, where do I even start? You come in against a Colts team that has the worst rush defense in the league, and you let your quarterback throw the ball 52 times. Caleb himself looks like he is developing slowly. I think there's still a few crucial throws that he could have made.
Flag on the
Let me finish what I got to say first.
No, you don't get to finish what you have to say.
Really?
You don't got enough heart right now, man.
Okay.
Where's your heart when you're talking about this? This is supposed to be the Chiesty boys. All right. And you're over here sounding sad right now. Like, oh yeah, you know, it's our game. No, this was dog water, man. This was ridiculous. I'm sick and tired of Shane Waldron, man. Shane Waldron deserves an ice bath. All right. With minnows and sharks in it. That's what he deserves. I'm tired of this dude. He's the new leader of ISIS. Okay, it was ridiculous out there.
Fucking producer laughing in the background,
field, right? We're moving down the field, passing the ball. We get in the red zone. What do? Run. Speed option. Who runs the speed option in the NFL anymore? This is ridiculous, especially on the 1 yard line. The referees were horrible this game. We should have had an interception in the first half that got taken away from us because they blew it dead. I never heard a whistle. Where was the whistle? In the second half, it's almost like Shane Waldron said, oh, yeah, you guys, maybe we should put the ball in Caleb's hands and let him cook. And that's exactly what he did. Delivering the ball to Romo Dunze, delivering the ball to Cole Kmet, throwing darts. But instead, we want to establish some type of run game with DeAndre Swift when Roshan Johnson is out there getting 8 to 10 yards every rush, and then we pull him out. Oh, 8 yards, pull him out. Put Swift back in there. It's disgusting. Flus, if we don't win 7 games, if we don't make the playoffs, I want your head on a spike.
Okay, so basically I was going to say everything he just said with a little bit of a more mellow tone manner, but I echo everything you just said. I completely agree. Waldron looks like an incompetent offensive coordinator who doesn't know what he's doing, who shakes when he's fucking picking plays. DeAndre Swift, He's looking like he's a disappointment. I know our offensive line is bad, but I feel like he could do more than what he's done. 13 carries, 20 yards. Roshan looks like a capable running back one when we need someone to run through the tackles, but it doesn't seem like Waldron's going to get it. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, and Eberflus's timeout that he called with like 4 minutes and 30 seconds left because he wanted to save time when we could have had 2 timeouts going into the last drive and maybe give ourselves a better chance. And then the offensive line just looks fucking pitiful. It looks like a bunch of fucking middle schoolers going up against IMG Academy, dude. Like, the picture of that speed option, there's fucking like 4 guys staying on the ground. One guy's like on all fours. The other dude's like on his fucking back. Like, that's pathetic, dude. You're an NFL team. You knew all season long that you needed to address this offensive line position, and Ryan Poles, being an ex-offensive lineman, wants to look for character guys? No, I don't want character guys. I want a guy who's going to fucking slam someone into the ground. And then, to touch on Caleb, I do think he's improving. I do think that there is as I stated earlier, there was a few throws that he should have made. He needs to have better pocket presence on that sack. Cole Kmet with a horrible block. I understand that, but you need to realize that and be able to roll out and make a play and do what makes you special. But I think he's going to get that as time progresses on. I don't know how much of a factor Keenan Allen being out was, but I do know that Rome Odunze looks like a more than an above average receiver. I think he looks like he can be a bona fide superstar wide receiver one on most of the teams in the league right now, just of his athletic ability alone. I'm happy that Caleb was actually to get his first touchdown pass out of the way, but there's just so much to improve on. We all picked this game to be won by the Bears this year, and I guarantee a lot of other people in the media and people like us alike looked at this game on paper and said it should have been a bona fide win. But what do we always say? Bears are going to find a way to Bears, especially with some of the throws that Anthony Richardson have. You let a guy throw for 167 yards, 2 touchdowns, and you lose the football game. You can only put so much on your defense to make plays before they start getting exhausted, and that's what happened towards the end of the game, and that's why they let Jonathan Taylor rush on them like crazy the last 2 quarters. But can you really fucking blame them? You can't. You can't, because you have an incompetent coach. You don't have an offensive line. You have a quarterback who's still figuring things out, and that is not a recipe for success on offense. Lou, sorry, we really haven't been giving you any of the floor space here, so take it away.
Oh, no, it's okay. Completely understandable. Yeah, just I've been harping on it all season, man, the offensive line, and it's before I was harping on those new guys coming in that we were unclear on, but now the guys we thought we were clear on are starting to take a turn for the worse. Like Tevin Jenkins, what are you doing out there? There are multiple plays. I'm seeing him getting blown up. He's getting pushed into the backfield.
Nate Davis.
Like, I thought Tevin Jenkins was going to take a huge leap forward. He missed a lot of time his first 2 seasons. He's finally fully healthy coming back in. Not seeing it. Darnell Wright, he looked all right, but there were a lot of times he was getting blown. We can't keep... If we're going to run the style of offense we're trying to run right now, we have to keep the pocket clean. We have to keep the pocket clean. We cannot keep the pocket clean. That was a dime.
That was an absolute dime.
That was absolutely beautiful. My gosh, David Daniels.
Keeping that pocket clean, we can't do it. And a lot of the reason is because our run game is unsatisfactory. You're not going to stop the rush by getting 2 to 3 yards. And the only way to have a good passing game is to have a good running game. And being able to keep the defense honest. And that's a lot of what we saw here is like, we were not able to keep the Indianapolis Colts defense honest because we couldn't establish the run. So they were able to send the blitz almost every other play. I mean,
and this is without DeForest Buckner even playing.
Dude, I know. That's what's so upsetting about it.
What is going on?
The worst rush defense in the league, and you have fucking DeAndre Swift, 13 carries, 20 yards. Roshan Johnson, 8 carries, fucking 30 yards. It's like, you what?
I just cashed.
You cashed?
Yes, sir. A little cash on a little cash live. We don't normally have that here, but we got a little cash live here.
Cash.
A little bit of cash.
Two-leg parlay. We had the little Kincaid touchdown and a little Jaden Daniels touchdown, which I just cashed out there.
Spicy.
$20 to win $160. So.
See, it's nice. It's nice to have a team that can fucking run the football.
Wow,
you know, it's cool when you have a line that could block on the goal line and you could actually score when you get the ball to the 5.
I wish I had that.
Which
I wish I had.
Chicago Bears don't fucking know how to do. It's just every week something. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong with this team. And it's going to be hard to watch them the rest of the season. And frankly, these next 2 games, because these next 2 games are must-win games. We have the Rams coming in to play at Soldier Field on noon on Sunday. with a very hurt team. They said Cooper Kupp's still going to be out. Puka's going to be out. You're gonna go against Tutu Atwell and Marcus Robinson. But what do? They just beat the fucking 49ers. And Matt Stafford is nothing to joke about. And quite frankly, the Rams team is going to be a more difficult team to verse than this Colts team was. And Matt Stafford's not going to make the mistakes that Anthony Richardson does. So it really is just going to be on the back of our offense to have to want to improve and figure out that offensive line quick, along with what their identity is, or else we can be in for a really another long week.
And this is what I'm going to add real quick. I apologize, Lou.
No worries.
Keenan Allen, where are you? Put an ace bandage on, throw some ice on your heel, and get in the game, man. We need you out there. This game could have went very differently. DJ Moore has been struggling to get unlocked truly this season. That is why we need Keenan Allen out there. You played one game this season. You're already out for 2 weeks. I don't know what you got going on, but if you want to get a contract, you better start hitting the field. Come on. That's all I have to say.
It's just,
the defense, I don't have anything to say about the defense. The defense played as good as they could have. People want to get upset. Oh, Jonathan Taylor has 2 touchdowns. Bro, Jonathan Taylor's one of the best running backs in the league. And at some point when the defense is on the field 70% of the time, he's going to get hot. It's going to happen. Jervon Dexter's going to get tired. Montez Sweat is going to get tired. I'm sorry. Like, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous.
I will give it to them, though. They will have a much easier contest on the offensive side of the ball against the Rams. Rams probably bottom 5 defensive teams.
Let me see that flag. Rams?
You
let me see it. Just let me see it real quick.
No,
I'm just throwing it again.
You gifted him a flag.
I'm just throwing it again.
At you directly.
This is to the Bears organization.
He's throwing at the Bears organization.
This is to the Bears organization. I want you to look at me when you hear this. Week 1 when we won, when I woke up Monday morning to go to work, I woke up at a good time. I got dressed before I went to work. I made breakfast. Okay, I woke up today at 6:30. I had work at 6:45. I was running late. I couldn't eat breakfast. And I got news for you. When you're on antidepressants and you don't eat breakfast, it sucks. Help me.
Record scratch.
Hashtag too much information.
TMI, brother. But, Chicago Bears, you got to fix his mental health, dude. I think it's just going to only go downhill from here. It's going to be going downhill for a lot of the fans because Chicago fans are pretty fucking impatient, if you guys haven't been able to tell. So people are going to start coming for people's necks really fucking soon here. And the next thing you're going to hear is that guy Tyson Bagent should get the start over Caleb Williams. His dad's a strongman arm wrestler guy. He looks like he could lead the team. He should. No, I don't need to fucking hear that. I don't want to hear that. I hope to God we won't hear that, but that's just how Chicago fans are. So Bears, get your head out your fucking ass, fix the offensive line, learn how to run the football, and let Caleb do what Caleb does best. And Caleb, keep doing what you're doing, man. It's only rookie season. I know you have a lot of expectations on your shoulders. It's only right that we give you a full year, just like we have other quarterbacks, and then I will be set to make my full judgment on him once the year is over. Boys, I know we were going to talk about best bets, but I'm thinking we should kind of wait and towards the back end of the weekend and then post them on socials when we get like better lines and stuff.
Absolutely.
And props and everything.
Pay attention this week, you guys. We're going to be posting a lot more on our TikToks and Instagram. Actually, this past Sunday, we did post our team bet that we placed, Romo Dunze anytime touchdown. Hope you guys tailed that one. So be on the lookout. We got some more bets and stuff coming your way, some more fantasy information as well. So lots of exciting stuff coming up on there, definitely.
Cool. Well, boys, I think that kind of wraps up.
Before we wrap it up, I just want to give a special shout out to my grandson, Lil Kiri Carroll. You know, we're playing each other in fantasy. It's a super close one. I just want to say this is a rivalry built in time. 7 years, 7 seasons, playing each other almost twice. I'm not going to talk shit. It was a hard-fought battle, and hey, I want to appreciate you for the tough competition we're having here. It's good to see a rivalry as old as time, they say.
Okay. All right. So that was a little message to Kieran and a message to all your other fantasy losers. Get your shit together before you fall too far downhill. Like Mr. Martinez is with his 0-3 record.
I'm coming back.
But we'll forget about that for next week. All right, guys. It was a pleasure getting to talk to you. Chiesty boys out.